Okay, take it away, Mr. Lee. Start with the reading. Okay, welcome everyone to the January 23rd, 2024 meeting of the Town of Waterford Design Review Board. This is a web-based meeting, so we are operating under the following procedures. This meeting is being audio and video recorded. The video recording will be available within 24 hours and will be posted on the Town of Waterford's Planning Department website. To ensure good sound quality, the default rule for this meeting is that everyone will remain on mute unless they are speaking. If an attendee creates an audio or video disruption, the Zoom moderator may place them on mute or remove them from the meeting if the disruption continues. We will not use the chat feature in this meeting. We appreciate your attendance. Should you have any questions about the process, you may call our staff at 860-444-5813 between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. And with that, I turn the meeting over to the chair.
Good afternoon. It's a call to order or appointment of alternates. I believe we have 3 full-time members here. We are good. Item number 2, plan reviews. PL 23-16, request of Mondays LLC owner, 16-18 Boston Post Road Associates LLC owner, and Seven Hills Hospitality Group LLC applicant for a site plan special permit approval for a new hotel at 16 and 18 Boston Post Road and 295 and 313 Willits Avenue. CG zone in accordance with sections 8.2.6 and 23 of the zoning regulations and as shown on plans entitled Wood Spring Suites. Okay. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's good to see you again. For the record, good evening. My name is Bill Sweeney. I'm a partner and a land use attorney at the law firm of Tobin Carberry in New London. I know I appear before you on a fairly regular basis. I represent Seven Hills Hospitality Group, which is an experienced hospitality and hotel development company based in Princeton, New Jersey. As you know, my client has submitted a special permit and a site plan review application to the Planning and Zoning Commission, which has a public hearing tonight on a 120-room extended stay hotel to be located at 16 and 18 Boston Post Road and 295 and 313 Willits Avenue here in Waterford. Joining me tonight on the call, we've got Ellen Bartlett. Ellen is a civil engineer with CLA Engineers. I also have Cullen Thompson and Ashley Flores. They are architects with BRR Architecture. And I've got Renita Summers and Mr. McFarland, who are representatives of my client. We are going to try to provide you a very brief overview tonight of the project. I'm going to just give you a little bit of background. Ms. Bartlett is going to go over the project layout and really just focus a little bit just on landscaping and sort of how the project lays out on the site. I'm going to give you an overview of our architectural and exterior elevations. And then Mr. Thompson and Ms. Flores are going to add some color and detail if there's anything they want to add to that. And if you have any specific questions about the architectural design of the project. So with that, I'm just going to try to share my screen, if that's okay.
Let me grant you that. All right, you are able.
All right. Let me see here. Do this now. Share screen. Did everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is the project site outlined in red on your screen. The project site encompasses 4 adjacent parcels of land that are either vacant or have blighted buildings upon them. They're between Boston Post Road here on the top of the screen or Willits Avenue on the bottom. In total, we have about 4.5 acres of land on the site. The site is surrounded by commercial uses on the north and the west, shopping center to the west. There's a mixed-use neighborhood to the south. We have Mercer Field directly to the east, and also some apartments directly to the east. This is a photograph of the northern side of the site, taken from Boston Post Road. And we also have here, move down a little bit more. Here's a photograph of the southern side of the site where the old Mondays club was. I think it was called McNamara's after that, and an old blighted abandoned house. If you've driven by the site, particularly the Willits Avenue side, you know the site is located on the town line with New London. It's certainly not an attractive gateway to the town of Waterford and hasn't been for some time. The entire site, the 4.5 acres, is all zone general commercial. And this, in the general commercial zone, hotels are permitted by special permit within that district. We've been working for the better part of the last year on a hotel facility on this property, and particularly a 122-room extended stay WoodSpring Suites hotel that's going to be developed on the site. I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and I'm going to bring up a different plan. And let me see if I can start sharing again. And share this one. We use this as sort of our site plan to share, and I'll talk a little bit, and then I'll turn it over to Ellen, who will use this plan to talk a little bit more. If you're not familiar with WoodSpring Suites, it's part of the Choice Hotels International Group. It's one of the largest and most successful lodging franchisors in the world. Hotel industry after COVID was hit really hard, but extended stay hotels have really been the bright spot in the industry. It's really sort of where the industry is going. People are really looking for extended stay hotel opportunities. It's really the bright spot, as I said, in the industry. People are looking for the ability to stay longer at hotels for a variety of reasons. And WoodSpring Suites is one of the industry leaders in extended stay opportunities. These WoodSpring Suites have accommodations. They have 122 rooms, but their rooms are really suites. Allow guests to stay for several weeks at a time. Their suites have kitchenettes in them. They have sort of enhanced guest rooms with quartz countertops, big screen TVs. Some of the suites have deluxe king beds. They're all pet friendly. There's a fitness center in the building. There's laundry services. And really these, just if you're not familiar with them, these types of extended stay hotels really cater to the business class. And so particularly with some of the major employers in the area, EB, Pfizer, L&M, Dominion. It's really the reason why this site has been selected for the WoodSpring Suites. WoodSpring Suites really cater to business travelers, people who are on temporary work assignments, people who are looking for temporary medical staffing, the construction industry, engineering, education, telecommunication industries. Those are really the primary clientele for WoodSpring Suites. We do take individual guests as well, but that's really the bread and butter of WoodSpring Suites. And that's really why this is being situated in this community, because of the major employers that are sort of booming in this area. These are well-maintained, well-furnished, managed, professionally managed facilities. And again, this is a national chain that's going to be professionally managed by a well-experienced franchisee. We're going to turn it over to Ellen to talk a little bit about the site itself. She's going to focus a little bit on the layout and talk a little bit about the landscaping and just how the site performs. And then we'll switch back and talk a little bit about the exterior of the building. Go ahead, Ellen.
Okay, my name is Ellen Bartlett, and I'm with CLA Engineers. And as Bill said, we've got 4 acres of land here. You can see there's some blue. There is some wetlands on the site. We've been to the Conservation Commission and received their approval already. The orange represents the building. That's the hotel itself. We're going to have access from both Boston Post Road and Willits Avenue, with Boston Post Road being the main entrance. As you can see, we're widening it and making the entrance easily for trucks and cars to get in. Bill said the property's been previously developed. Okay, my cat is joining me. Has been previously developed and contains, several unsightly abandoned buildings, including the abandoned sports bar, 2 residences, and 2 garages. All of these buildings are proposed to be demolished, and we're going to develop this site as a hotel site, brand new. The site plans contain a detailed landscape plan prepared by a licensed landscape architect from Beta Group. The landscape plans are located on sheets 6, 7, and 8 of the site development plans, and they're part of the package that was submitted for this board. So you should have those plans in your packet. And this overall is combining all the landscaping that's proposed for the site. Let's see. The planting plan uses a lot of native species to enhance the buildings, to enhance the view from both Boston Post Road and Willits Avenue, as well as providing buffers to all the neighboring properties. The design will provide shade along the entrance drives and then shade trees around the parking areas as well. Extra care was spent on the road entrances to the property in surrounding the building to provide shrubs, trees, and perennials that will add a display of color to the entire site. A mix of pollinator plantings were added in several locations throughout the site to add additional color in the spring, summer, and fall to really just add some beauty to the surrounding landscape. There's 2 water quality basins on the site, which will provide water quality treatment and also detention of the water so that there will be a decrease in flows going to the offsite drainage systems. At this point, I think we should take a look at the buildings because the building is really the high point of the site and it's really pretty spectacular. So can we switch to those?
Yep, I'm going to switch to that. Just give me a second.
Yep.
So I will just sort of walk you through these slides quickly, and then I know Cullen and Ashley are also on the line. So Cullen and Ashley, if you want to add anything, feel free to jump in. I know you guys probably do this at a lot of different, it is fairly informal presentation, but this is the sort of prototypical wood spring suites. This is, they have several different versions that they do throughout the country. This is the version, sort of the neutral, what they call palette. That they're using for the Waterford site. It is a 4-story building. This would be the front facade of the building that you're seeing here. This would be facing to the west. So as you drive in from Boston Post Road, this would be to your left. If you drive in from Willits, it would be to your right. You have the main entrance sort of in the center of the building. And then you can see that there's a lot of different materials used on the building. We'll get into the actual what they're comprised of, but we have sort of a veneer, a stone veneer on the lower first floor. And then they use a variety of different materials, both in color and sort of pattern to sort of break up the building. And there's some articulation on the front side, so you don't just get a flat front building. So there's some vertical sort of back and forth in the building. And then there's even in the windows, some have some faux shutters and some don't. So there's even differences there as well. I'll move to the next slide on the building. Here's a blow up of the main entrance. So you sort of have that, the entrance, the covered entrance to the front. And again, you can see a little bit closer, sort of the shake that they have over that veneer. And then you also have sort of the clapboard as well. So again, some difference in the different, and this is a fiber cement product that they use on these. So these will be long lasting, really high quality materials. It won't be something that peels or breaks down over time. And it helps with the maintenance of these long term. And it makes sure that they stay and they look the same way they do years from now as well. And it helps the franchisee take care of the property in years to come as well. Continue. These are sort of a breakdown of the just showing the height profile of the building. There's a 40-foot height requirement in the zone, with this just demonstrates that we meet that requirement. It's to the middle of the gabled roof. But it also shows sort of the color schemes, and then shows the materials. We're using a cement product for this, and the different the lap siding, the shake siding, and then we're using the asphalt shingles, and then the stone veneer on that lower sort of water table level, just to again break up the different materials, and then and also the articulation. So there's just some difference on the side, gives you some interesting shadows. And just so it's not just a box. And I think that's really important, just to give a little bit of visual difference on that facade. And then we also have just the back side of the building. So this would be the side of the building that faces Mercer Field. And really, if you looked at our site plan, the building is really central to the site. But this would be the back side facing Mercer Field. And it also shows sort of the right elevation, one of the ends of the building as well. Again, just a different profile end. And we do have some floor plans as well. Not as exciting, obviously, but shows sort of the long central corridor, the guest rooms, and you can see the lobby area and the fitness area on the main floor, and then the second floor plan, and obviously just stacked above on the third and fourth plan. Nothing very interesting on those. The elevator in the central core. I don't know, Cullen or Ashley, if you wanted to add anything to my presentation, if you think there was something I missed, or if you wanted to highlight anything, I can go back to any of those slides, Cullen.
Yeah, if you could go to the perspective. So I'm Cullen Thompson with BRR Architecture. I just wanted to echo and highlight a few things that Bill had mentioned. If you go back to the one previous to this, Bill, please. We have kind of gone through a few iterations of design with this concept, just to make sure that we're taking what is kind of the standard approach for the brand and really adapting it to a northeastern coastal scheme and design configuration. So, we don't typically do any kind of shake siding on most of these projects. It's usually just EIFS and fiber cement. So we've really taken a look at the whole exterior design concept and how can we really make it related to the site context. So the faux shutters that Bill mentioned, the shake siding that are all fiber cement products, like Bill said, are going to be really durable, really long lasting, high quality products that will stand up both to weathering and any of the varying weather temperatures that may be prevalent in the region. But the other thing that we've also really added on here is some customization to the roof line. So looking at adding in, those faux dormers that are up at the top of the building to really give it kind of that New England coastal aesthetic and tie back to the regional focus. So just wanted to make sure that we emphasize that and highlighted that. I know we have gotten some feedback on some prior iterations and did go through some redesign exercises to make sure that we were tying in some of the context vernacular language.
Like I said, I know that the folks at Seven Hills have been before the town, well before I was involved in the project. So the better part of a year now, and having meeting with staff, and that's a great point that Cullen made. So this is a mocked up version of the prototype to try to address some of the initial concerns of the planning staff. So we've been working hard to try to bring up a quality project and the town. And I would just close with this is it has been well over a decade that we have had this blighted sort of amalgamation of properties on the eastern gateway to Waterford. We're excited about this project. This is a major investment, multiple $million investment in this property, and we're going to be able to clean up what is a terribly blighted property on Willits Avenue. And bring a taxpaying productive reuse of the property to the community, and one, quite frankly, that this community needs. This property is going to bring the opportunity for extended stay housing to support a lot of the major employers in town. That is the major customer for Wood Spring Suites, are the major employers in the area. And we're excited about it. We think it's really going to clean up the property. It's going to be something to be proud of. and it's going to take really an eyesore out of the Eastern Gateway to Waterford. So we hope that we can get a favorable recommendation out of the board tonight. We've worked hard on this project. We're excited to bring it to bear and get construction going in 2024. So happy to answer any questions the board has, or if you have any comments or suggestions. We're certainly all ears, and certainly encourage any comments that you have.
Very good. Thank you, Bill. Gentlemen?
I got a question on the page 8 on the landscaping. What is the intent of that note under the list of materials?
Just give Ellen a second to look it up. Ellen, you're muted.
Sorry. I'm just reading this note because this plan was done by the landscape architect, so I'm not as familiar with it. Okay, well, all this really means is when you look at the actual plans, plans 6 and 7, it'll call out at each location how many of each species they want on the plan. And that will override the plant list sometimes because things get changed along the way, and sometimes there's a mistake adding up the number of plants. The previous sheets 6 and 7 override, and that's what actually has to be put on there.
I kind of thought that what it might have said, but it would have been a lot easier if it just said that.
Yeah, they said it in kind of a convoluted way, but that's the intent, is just what's on 6 and 7 is the number of plants of each species in each location. And if it differs slightly from the plant list,
Right.
the sheet 6 and 7 rule.
Okay, thank you. I've got another question. I didn't see any signage on either, I guess, entrances. As
Sheet
far
2. Sheet 2 shows a sign at the entrance.
sheet 2?
Yes. Sheet 2 should be part of your package as well. Yep, and it shows a sign at the entrance on to Boston Post Road. There is a sign shown there.
2A, A or 2?
I don't have it.
2 or
Bill,
2A?
could you, 2. Bill, could you pull up sheet 2?
We don't have.
We don't have the 2.
We don't have 2.
Okay,
Let me, I can bring up your plan set, the full plan set.
yeah.
Yeah, hold
And then
on
we
just a
could-
second. Give me a second. Right. Let me see if I can now share this. Just bear with me for a second. Is that the sheet 2 that you wanted, Ellen?
Yeah, yes, that's it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the site plan is 14 sheets long, and rather in trying to save paper, we just picked the most important sheets, and we should have had 2 in there. But if you look up at Boston Post Road, as you'd be pulling it on the left-hand side, it's called out a install sign.
Do you want me to zoom?
Records.
Do you want me to zoom
Yeah.
into that entrance?
Can you zoom in up there?
Does that help?
Yes,
It says install sign in accordance with zoning regulation, 10 feet back.
from the property line. Yeah, it's required to be 10 feet back from the property line. And I always add that note because the sign is never fully developed at the time of getting site plan approval, so it has to go back for a zoning permit to get the sign once it's designed.
North and south, or east and west,
Yes, based on their sight line. Based on the
and
site.
no sign over here.
No.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if I can just address, the,
How big of a
members
sign?
here. Ellen, one of the questions was whether or not there's gonna be a sign at the Willits Avenue entrance.
No, the idea was to make Boston Post Road the main entrance, put the sign there. The address will be 18 Boston Post Road. So when somebody puts it in their GPS, it'll take them right to that entrance. There's also been some speed bumps in the access from Willits Road. We don't want people using this as a cut through. We want to downplay the rear entrance and have this be the main entrance to the site.
How about stop signs exiting the site?
There is a stop sign right there. It's also shown.
Thank you.
It says install 12-inch stop sign and stop bar, breakaway post, 10 feet back from the edge of pavement. There will be a stop sign
All right,
on,
good.
on the Willett Street also, Willits Avenue side.
How about the 500-foot question?
Oh, yeah, I just had a quick question on the initial application package where something about,
Want something to do with the 500?
yep. Section 9 on the planning and zoning application, it's just something we noticed. Good. Section 9, additional information, is any part of the site within 500 feet of the town line? And the box no is checked.
Oh.
The property kind of lies on the town line, doesn't it?
Yes, it should definitely be checked, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was just an oversight, but
What's the difference?
If it's on a town line or not, has to do with notification as well of the adjacent municipality.
Did we do that?
Yes.
So it's all of us.
very good. Bob?
Yeah, I had a question on at least one, if not two of those buildings that are gonna be demolished. Is there required to have a demolition permit?
Yeah. of
Yes,
course,
there will
of
have to
course.
be,
I'm sorry?
Yes, you absolutely have to get a demolition permit for any
Okay.
demolition.
I mean, I only say that, not that there's anything that's terribly, someone's gonna pick it up and move them, but oftentimes on the interior, there's certain architectural details and so forth that could be salvageable, and I think that is one of the reasons for that ordinance. So thank you.
Thanks, Bob. The first thing that struck me when I looked at it, and Bill, you did a great job spelling it, but it's a big building that's going up in an empty lot. It's going to look rather, rather monolithic. While there is some articulation in the front, there's not a lot in the repetitive nature of the windows are all exactly the same size. So it's quite repetitive and adds to that monolithic feel there. Any thought perhaps of making the shake and the lap siding slightly different colors, might break it up a little bit more, or perhaps something besides beige? I'm just throwing some ideas out there. It will be a rather large feature on that landscape.
I'll let Cullen respond to coloration. The one thing I would say, one thing I would note that I think that I picked up on early in this project is if you look at the scale of this project and you look at the scale of this plan. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let me just go back here. Is the setback of this building from the roadway. So it is a tall building. There's no doubt about that. But the setback of the building to Willets Avenue and Boston Post Road is significant. I mean, we're talking about these are 20-foot, 4-foot drive aisles. I mean, we're well over 100 feet to both roadways. We're almost 150 feet to both roadways from the building. So you have a significant setback to the road. You're not right up on the road. So that gives you that distance. So that is a mitigating factor is, in this zone, for example, you've got a lot of buildings that are right up on Boston Post Road and right up on Willets. This building will not be right up on the roadway. So I think that's one thing to factor in that issue of sort of how the building appears as you're driving by, or how does it fit into the existing neighborhood. But I'll let Cullen talk to the issue of coloration and whether Woodspring Suites has looked at that issue of, is there any room, or have they examined whether there can be any tinting of or change to that color scheme at all?
Yeah, Bill, if you can pull up the elevation sheet.
Yeah, absolutely.
That shows those front elevations. So yeah, I totally hear your comment. One thing that we've done is obviously the stone veneer base adds a lot of coloration and texture to it. It also starts to address some of those top, middle, bottom, middle, top principles of the building design. And if you can go to the flat elevations, Bill, I think these elevations kind of show it, these renderings show it a little bit. They seem a little whitewashed here, but probably just due to the sun settings in those renderings. But if you can zoom in here on, like this corner of the facade, what you'll actually see is that the fiber cement banding kind of in that middle zone above the stone veneer and below that shake siding is actually a little bit more of a gray tone to give it some color variation versus kind of the cream off-white texturization that shake panel will have on the top. In addition, those two kind of sides of the building that flank that center tower are going to be more of that weathered wood, natural warm tone coloration of that shake siding to give it some of that variation. So we're using that wood feel, that wood tone of the shake siding for either of those two sides of the center entry area to help kind of break up that facade a little bit more. If you go to Bill, kind of the center portion of the facade above. Yeah, so these two zones to the left and the right of this entrance are helping to break up that massing with kind of that wood tone coloration as well.
All right, I appreciate that. Certainly some of the subtleties of that gradation were lost on our printed copies. It really looked like one color here. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the sun settings may have kind of washed out that gray a little bit, but yeah, the intention is to have a little bit more of a gray hue in that center banding, and then a little bit more of a whiter, lighter cream with some texturized colors for the shake above.
Okay, yeah, that helps an awful lot. In the rendering, the printed edition of that rendering, it all looked quite pale, very beige. And given the elevation of the building, it being on a hill as you're going up the street looking at it, it just seemed like it was really going to loom very large. But that coloration helps a lot. Okay.
Along with looming large, the formula in terms of the number of units, in other words, why not just 3 stories? That's my question. Why not just 3 stories?
Well, the zoning code allows 4 stories. I think that's the first and foremost is zoning allows 4 stories in the GC zone. And in addition, the 122 room Woodspring Suites is their prototypical sort of size. That is the model that they are rolling out throughout the country. And quite frankly, if you look at the competitors, that is about that 120 to 130 some odd. If you look at some of the other extended stay suites, that's sort of the sweet spot in the industry for the number. So there's not a lot of variation there in this sort of product. That's generally where you find it. So
okay, just curious.
And I would add in there too, Bill, I know, the site, especially with the wetlands and the parking requirements, there's not really a whole lot of flexibility either in order to move to a longer 3-story design concept.
Okay.
Very good. Any other questions?
It might have helped if they showed some of the landscaping back from the hotel from the street, because you've got a lot of trees going in.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't show any on most of the views you have, but got quite a few trees being planted.
Yeah, the renderings don't show the specific landscaping proposed. It's just to show more or less the architecture of the building.
Well, and there's also, if I can just show this too, I think this might be important to point out too. Let me just bring this up for a second. There's a lot of wetland on the property as well. I think Cullen brought that up too. So this whole northwestern section of the property is all wetland as well. And so that's undevelopable. That's going to stay in its natural condition up here as well. So it's really the area of sort of clearing is going to be sort of a narrow band from Boston Post Road for the main access. And then you're going to have an area, quite frankly, that's already disturbed. There was some dumping in this area in the past that's going to be actually cleaned up as a result of this project, where the hotel is going to be built. And then this area where the lower parking lot, where most of the parking for the guests are going to be, that's where Mondays and the houses right now. So, the areas of disturbance are going to remain the areas of disturbance. And a lot of the areas, particularly this area of the wetland, is going to stay undisturbed.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Bill.
No problem.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Second, any notes?
Notes.
Any conditions or?
Or anything that jumped out at you in the terms of. No.
All right, without any conditions then, all in favor of approval?
aye.
Aye.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Thank you so much for your time
Yeah.
tonight, guys. Really appreciate it as always.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Thank you.
All righty. So. Next, everybody had a chance to look at the minutes.
Yeah, I had a couple of comments.
Okay.
On paragraph, I guess, the third page paragraph. I think your comment was the opposite side of the building from
Let's see what else.
opposite the pickup window. Pickup window is on the right, and I thought all our comments were on the left as you go in.
The pickup window.
Yeah.
Side of the building. Right.
Yeah, I was talking about the wall with the pickup window.
You were talking about the pickup window?
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause,
bars or.
yeah, there were gonna be some bars or
I
something
thought
there.
the one on the other side as you go in. Where's the pickup window? I thought it was on the right.
Pickup window as you're facing
As
the
you're
building
facing, yeah,
from the street, it's on the right.
yeah, I thought we were talking the other side.
There you go.
My numbers.
Come in on the Aldi side and drive around.
And then I had a comment about putting in a one way where the pickup window comes out.
Add one way.
Yeah, don't go in that way.
Right.
Yep,
I didn't see that on there.
okay, I think that was incorporated as a condition,
Alright.
planning and zoning approval,
Okay,
but I certainly.
well, that's all I had.
Yep.
Very good. All right, motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So where is Chipotle on that issue that John had?
Well, what they've done is they've actually gone back to, because what they wanted to do initially was to remove those bars.
Yep.
And then replace them with the faux windows, and felt that that wasn't really enough to.
Yeah, it was
To do
a
it.
little.
Right, so they decided to stick with the original plan,
Oh, okay.
All right,
keep the bars there, don't go with the faux windows.
all right.
They found that's actually working for them.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
It cracks me up out Flanders that what is it, Dollar General or something?
Oh, yeah.
That's phony right along the road, whatever those are supposed to be, I don't know. fake garage doors or something.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so was there,
Very good.
was there a motion and,
So we did.
Yeah, the minutes were approved.
very good.
Okay. All right, there were a couple of things that, email that I sent earlier today, I sent John, or forwarded to John, the public pond thing, which I had discussed with Bob as well.
Mhm.
Don't know
What was
what's
that?
going on there, Miller Pond,
Oh,
I had just sent an email earlier today with a couple of follow-up things, Miller Pond being one of them, not knowing what's going on up there. Don't know.
has John or Pat Karate got in touch with you?
No,
About this?
We only
Because-
just touched base on it briefly in a phone call. And I
All right,
guess,
well, Kerry Holloway,
Kerry had been talking with him.
you have,
No, Pat told me that Kerry had been talking with him, but didn't know the details of the conversation.
okay,
Mm.
but, I mean, he knows that what's
Yeah.
going on up there,
Okay.
so
All right, yeah, I
he
just
could be very
didn't get the
helpful.
full gist of it. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I guess from the email, they were talking about draining the pond permanently. For what reason, I'm not sure.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. So,
Back when,
Yeah.
when Tony was first elected, it was a whole lot of, were you here then?
I was here when Larry Bettencourt was first elected.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember one of the Shack brothers.
Yep.
I can't remember what the issue was, but I can remember him storming into the clerk's office, FOI, wanting records, and I mean, he was creating quite a scene. Now, I don't know whether it was this Tom, or is there a Paul?
There's a Robert Shack.
Yeah,
One of
he's
the
the
other
youngest.
brothers. Yep. As far as I know, I only know Rob and Tom. I don't know.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway, there was, from what I understand, this person lived in Tennessee. Now, I may have it all screwed up. but,
okay.
Anyway, there was a big flat back then. Was that when they were gonna make it a consideration who London was gonna
That,
have?
that may have been something to do to make this Miller's Pond kind of a backup reservoir
Yeah,
or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I
But they
remember reading
wanted to
something
mine the
like
gravel out first
that. Mhm.
before they did that. And that's, yeah, there was a lot. That was actually from there to Paul Eckert, I think. Time period as well. That had to be one off.
Right. And then
Okay.
they were trying to sell it to the town at one
I
point,
think so.
not that long ago,
They offered it to some.
yeah, about 10 years ago or so.
Yes.
Okay, so this is nothing new in a way.
That part's not new. This other part. though.
Yeah,
So the
I know,
draining
but
it is new. Yeah. Yes.
but the Shack.
All right. I'd also, wondered where we were on, years ago, we were talking about, village zoning for around Jordan and all of that. I didn't know, just,
It's
Well,
still
by the way,
back in the back burner,
Okay.
the ability to marshal our forces to be able to pursue that more. But no, we still have all the original, I still, we have all the original paperwork and
Mhm.
proposals. And for things, to change that zoning, but that's not at this point.
okay, yeah, I'd run across some of those notes and
Yeah,
The
it hasn't
proposal,
garnered any
I know.
steam since way back.
cleaning up some paperwork and went, oh yeah, where are we with this?
Yeah.
I don't know what. Okay,
I mean, it's pretty much written, isn't it? I mean, from what I understand.
Pretty much, I mean, the uses that were being proposed, from a regulation amendment standpoint. Yeah, I mean, the proposed uses, I think where it came into play is, first of all, establishing the boundary, because now we have to combine zones. Jordan Village is comprised of probably 3
Yeah.
or 4 different zone districts. And to be able to combine where that boundary is going to be. And also to incorporate the, design standards, design guidelines. For Jordan Village as well.
right.
And those are just right now, like I said, it's way on the back burner. Yeah.
Does anybody ever bring it up like, hello,
You guys.
but I mean,
That's about it.
planning and zoning, maybe?
No,
No.
no.
Does it get mentioned that we talked about that issue?
So next plan of development,
Yeah, that's where it comes up, is in the review of the POD. POC.
Yeah, that was my next question. Have we seen?
What a
any-
segue,
We have a new draft. Which
Is it in English this time?
it's in English and it's been marked up heavily by the staff. Currently planning and zoning has it. I believe we'll be able to share with conservation and design review board soon. And it's marked up pretty heavily. And it's all done with in PDF. So we'll send you, we can
Okay.
probably share a link with you so you can read it on your
Sure,
computer.
yeah, because for Historic Properties Commission, we're also interested as well.
Mhm. So,
Definitely.
that'll be
All
coming
right.
soon.
Very good.
Yeah, supposedly there was a history section to that. Historic.
There.
Yeah, which had like 14 talking points or something. It's like, really? All right, terrific. Did we adjourn?
Not yet.
Yeah,
I move to adjourn.
All in favor?
thanks, everybody.
Wonderful.
Where's the trash?
Right here, I'll take care of it.